Hello, sixth graders. Today we're going to be using the Pythagorean Theorem. And this is what it is. Watch closely. It's a squared plus b squared equals c squared. We're going to be using this all day today. And how this works is this. We have a triangle, okay? A right triangle. Here is your a, here is your b, and you're trying to find the slant. If you can find your height and your base, you can actually, by using your height and your base, you'll be able to find this distance here, where you've never been able to do that before. I'm showing you a formula today on how to do it. First off, you're going to have to know how to unsquare some numbers. So how would you type this in your calculator? Well, the first thing is you're going to press the square root button, okay? So you're going to press that square root button, it's going to pop like, well, that looks like this on your screen, okay? The next button you're going to press is 144. So it looks like this on your screen. 144. And then you have to close your parentheses. You're going to press the close parentheses. And then you're going to press enter. And you will get 12 for an answer. What this means when you're unsquare rooting, so this pretty much means 12 times 12 equals 144. But if we know the 144 and we're trying to work backwards, we're going to have to square root it on our calculators. Okay, and that will calculate what two numbers times each other equal this number. Here's another example, okay? This one gets a little trickier. So inside here we have to go 200 times 200. So we're really finding the square root of 40,000. Go ahead and type that in your calculator. Once again, you're going to press the square root button so it appears like this. You're going to go ahead and put 40,000 in there. So make sure you have 4 zeros. Close the parentheses. You should get a nice answer of 200 because 200 times 200 equals 40,000. See if we can do this one mentally. If we're unsquaring 900, what two numbers when we multiply get to 900? Well, we know 3 times 3 is the square root of 9. And if we do 30, what is 30 times 30? 3 times 3 is 9. 0 and 0. Add the 2 zeros, we get 900, so the answer would be 30. See if we can do this one mentally. Ooh, we got 0.16, okay? By the way, let's go back and check this one on our calculators, just to make sure we did it right. Square root 900, close parentheses, equals 30. Next problem here. What would be the square root of 16? It would be 4. So what do you think the square root of 0.16 is? Maybe it's 0.4. Let's try it out. We're going to do the square root button, 0.16, close parentheses. What does it equal? It equals 0.4. Let's move on. We got a fraction in here. But let's take a look here. This one might be a little harder to do, but you'd have to square each number. So what two numbers multiplied together equal 25? Well, 5 does. And 121 is mental math, but you can go ahead and try it yourself. Square root of 121 on your calculator, and that equals 11. So your answer here would be 5/11. 10,000. Well, let's take a look. Can we do this one mentally on our, what would you think? You think 100 times 100 would equal 10,000? 1 and 1. Add all the zeros together. We get 10,000. You can take a look on your calculator. 10,000, the square root of 10,000 does equal 100. Now it says use a calculator, because these are going to be some decimals. We're going to round to the nearest hundredth. So that's 2 spots after the decimal. Let's go ahead and crank that in. The square root of 12, close parentheses, equals 3.464111. So many numbers. 3.464. I'm going to take a look at this thousand spot. It's lower than 5, so this answer is 3.46. Next problem, square root 51, close parentheses, equals 7.141. This answer here is the thousandths place is less than 5, so my answer is 7.14. Moving on. Square root of 63, close parentheses, equals 7.937. This 7 right here is going to make that 3 go up to a 4, so my answer is 7.94. Now, if you're just writing in answers and you're not following along, this is going to be a very hard lesson. But if you're actually working through this with me, it's pretty easy stuff today. Now we're going to use the Pythagorean Theorem. So that is a squared plus b squared equals c squared. And this is our slant on the triangle. Here's your c, here's your a, here's your b. This is a right triangle. Moving on. Let's take a look here. So I have, if I'm doing a squared plus b squared equals c squared, How do we do it? First time rolling around here. Let's take a look here. Here's my A, so this is 7 squared, plus here's my B, which is 24 squared, equals C squared. Let's see how to do this. 7 times 7 on my calculator will give me a beautiful answer of 49. Plus 24 to the second power. 24 times 24 equals 576 equals C squared. Go and add 576 plus 49 on your calculators, and you get a nice answer of 625 equals C squared. So listen closely here. We have to find out what two numbers, when they multiply each other, equals 625. How do I do that? Well, all you have to do is do 625, the square root of it. So on my calculator, I'm going square root 625, close parentheses, equals 25. So going back here, C is 25 meters. 25 meters. That is how you do it. Moving on. Let's take a look here. They kind of flipped it on us. So here's my A, here's my C. We're trying to find B. So I'm going to write it out. A squared plus B squared equals C squared. Well, I know my A, it's 5 to the second power. I don't know my B. Equals 11 times 11, 11 squared. Let's go ahead and solve those. Well, we know 5 squared is 25. Plus, we don't know, equals, but this is B squared, so we do know that. Equals 11 times 11 is 121. Okay? Well, how do I solve up what B squared is? All it is simple equation work. I have to bring this 25 over to this side. I better change colors because that normally helps you kids. So I'm going to be subtracting 25 from 125 or from 121. So I'm going 121 minus 25 on my calculator, and I get a nice answer of 96. So B squared equals 96. So how do I find out what B squared is? I have to take 96 and square root it on my calculator. So what is the square root of 96? That equals 9.797958. It keeps on going on. All I have to do is look to the hundredth spot, look at the thousands. This 7 is larger, so I'm going to have to change this 9 to a 10, which makes it a 0, which brings a 1 over to the 7, which makes it an 8, 9. So my answer is 9, where are we at here? 9.8 feet. Let's do another one. These are actually really fun. Okay. Here's another one. I have to find out what A is. So I have A squared plus B squared plus, oh, apologize, not adding, equals C squared. I don't know my A squared, plus my B is right here is my base, so it's 120 squared, equals 122 squared. Yes, I will let you use a calculator today. So I have A squared right here. What is 120 times 120? 14,400. Yikes, big number. Moving over, what is 122 times 122? 14,884. Now we're probably wondering, how do we find out what A squared is? Well, I'm going to change colors to help us out. I'm going to move this 14,400 over to the other side of the equal sign, so I have to subtract 14,400 from 14,884. So I'm going to subtract 14,884 minus 14,400. Gives me a beautiful answer of 484. So A squared equals 484. Well, how do I find out what A squared is? I have to square root. Oops, not sure what I'm drawing over here. 484. The square root of that on my calculator. Let's go ahead and see what we get here. Square root of 484, close parentheses, equals 22. Jumping back to my problem, that means my height is 22 yards. 22 yards. And that's how it's done. Let's go another one here. Find the distance from home plate to second base. Well, looks like this is a legit baseball field because home plate to first base, second base is 90 feet. I think that's major league numbers. I'm not sure. Anyways, that's a ways. I have to find out what this distance is. Well, all I have to do is do A squared plus B squared equals C squared. Here's my A, here's my B, here's my C, because this is where my right angle is. Or I could also, apologize, I want to be consistent. Here's my right angle, so I'm going to put A here, I'm going to put B here. I think I've been doing that, okay? It's the same thing either way. So I have 90 squared, or 90 to the second power, apologize, not 90 squared, plus 90 to the second power equals C to the second power. Well, what is 90 times 90? We have 8,100 plus 8,100 equals C squared. Well, what's 8,100 plus 8,100? It is 16,200 equals C squared. Probably wondering, what do I do next? Well, it's the same thing we've done the whole lesson. 16,200. What is the square root of that? Square root of 16,200, close parentheses, equals a very large number, 127.279. Keeps on going on, but I'm done. I'm going to move this 9. It's going to make that 7 round up, so I have 127.28. Jumping back to the problem, I have 127.28 feet. Boom. Done. Next problem. Practice problems. Yes, order of operations. PEMDAS. I love PEMDAS. Let's go through this pretty quick. You guys are probably looking, what do these little brackets mean? It's the same thing as parentheses. So we have to do the P first parentheses. So inside here I have 2. In the bracket I've got 9. 6 minus 5 is 1. It's a positive 1, okay? Keep on going. I've got a 2 out here. Inside this parentheses I got 9 times 1 is 9. Close parentheses. What do I do with this 2 to this 9? Does it equal 29? No, it doesn't. I have to multiply 2 times 9, which equals 18. My answer is 18. Moving on to the next problem. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. So I can't do anything with this 5 right away. I'm going to add it to 3 times 4 is 12. Minus 8 plus 2 times 7. Next thing, I have another multiplication problem in there, so I'm going to do that again. 5 plus 12 minus 8 plus 14. Now I can just simply add and subtract whatever happens left to right. 5 plus 12 is 17. Minus 8 plus 14. 17 minus 8 gives me 9 plus 14. 9 plus 14 gives me a beautiful answer of 23. That's my answer. Makes a nice funnel. I'll never make a mistake as long as I am doing that. As you can tell, I did not put a 14 here right away. I did one thing at a time. As long as you do that, you will have a perfect funnel with an answer at the end. That is correct. Good luck. Hopefully you enjoyed the Pythagorean Theorem. I think it's pretty fun because you can use that in everyday life. Good luck, and we'll see you in math.